playoff race tightens with under a dozen games to go in the USL League One regular season. We're at Future Legends Complex in Windsor, Colorado, where Northern Colorado holds the 8th and final playoff spot. Richmond is on the outside in, but 3 points could bust them through the playoff line. Match week 16 of the USL League One is on ESPN+. Hello and welcome, I'm Ryan Lee, so happy to be with you this evening. And there are two teams fighting their playoff lives for the next 3 months of the regular season. As mentioned, Hailstorm are currently in the 8th and final spot, but only 3 points behind them is Richmond. However, with Richmond, they have the most losses in the league. That's not doing them any favors, but the 3 points could come up huge. One set of 3 points that came up huge was Northern Colorado's last home game, which came against Omaha, where they got off to a hot start and didn't look back. Billy King got his second goal of the season in only the 9th minute of play, and in the second half, Breck Evans would double down on the lead. A 2-0 win would be the result for Northern Colorado over the Owls of Omaha. Richmond had come off of a road trip to Lexington, and Azad Liadi would start things off. But Bruno Rendon would be the key guy who's been contributing all the way through for Northern Colorado. He's been contributing all sorts of ways, whether it's setting guys up, continuing sliding one back in the net, and even getting things through with the third most shot on goals in the USL League One. And he continues to get things done with Northern Colorado. Richmond kickers are coming off a road trip off of Lexington, where things got started off quick with Azad Liadi getting one in to start things off just before the halftime break. They would enter the half with a 1-0 lead. Adrian Billhart would score the equalizer coming out of the half to level things off at 1. He would score his 5th goal of the season to tie things up at 1-1 in only the 46th minute. But only about 2 minutes later, things would get spoiled as Atez Diouf would score the game-winning goal to give Lexington the 2-1 lead over Richmond and the full 3 points against the kickers. Adrian Billhart, he scored that lone goal for Richmond, and he is our player to watch. The 26-year-old German is 5th in the league in goals scored, and he continues to add on to a total where he has earned himself a new career high in goals. He will start his 45th match in USL League One today after coming off of a USL Championship stint in 2023. Billhart, the 26-year-old German, he continues to dominate for Richmond ever since becoming the 2022 League One Comeback Player of the Year. He has come back to League One and has not looked back since his return to USL League One. Points are on the line for two streaking sides. Northern Colorado have won their last 2 matches by shutouts. Richmond have lost their last 3 straight. They want to avoid making it 4 straight. Lineups and kickoff are next.
Hello from NOCO Humane, your community partner for comprehensive animal welfare services in Larimer and Weld counties. While you may not recognize our new name and logo, we have more than 50 years of experience and expertise formerly operating as Larimer Humane Society. We have expanded our reach and our impact, taking on the sheltering and care of animals in Weld County in light of the dissolution of the Humane Society of Weld County. This transition ensures that vital animal services will not only continue but thrive, bringing even greater compassionate care and commitment to the pets and people of Northern Colorado. Join us as we heal, nurture, and protect more than 10,000 companion animals in the year to come. 2 shelters, 1 mission. NOCO Humane.
Back here at Future Legends Complex in Windsor, Colorado, where Northern Colorado Hailstorm have won their last 2 in a row, while the Richmond Kickers have won their last 3 straight. And as we start things off right before we kick off, the Northern Colorado lineup is brought to you by Four Rivers Equipment. 3 changes being made for the Hailstorm. Lucky Oprah, he started 16 of his 17 in 2024 with 44 in 48 in League One. Lalo Delgado has started all 21 matches for the Hailstorm in 2024, including back-to-back wins via shutout. The Richmond Kickers are making 3 changes of their own. The key one is the 2 center backs being added in with the 17-year-old Garnett, and Nathan Awney, his 10th appearance in 2024, returns for injury. Pablo Ijara makes his 94th start in USL League One, 14 of them with the Richmond Kickers. As these 2 teams battle for a very important 3 points here at Future Legends Complex in Windsor, Colorado, things will continue to heat up as the playoff race tightens. As we can see, Emiliano Terzaghi ready to kick things off as we get started here in Windsor. Richmond are in the red tops with the red bottoms with the white tops, while Northern Colorado are in the all-purple. Ryan Lee and our entire ESPN Plus broadcast crew with you. Thank you so much for joining us with 2 teams who are really fighting for everything that they've got, considering how things have gone in 2024. With Northern Colorado, they continue to press up on the attack as they try to go across. That one eventually gets bounced out by Richmond, and it comes out for a throw-in. An early opportunity that Northern Colorado wants to take advantage of, especially when they've been a little bit more of a closing team. They're not necessarily a team that's going to open things up, but they've had some benefits in the last couple of weeks with the way that they've started, but things have gone offside, so it goes back to Richmond. Richmond Kickers 3-7-3 in 2024. That currently spots them at number 10 of the 12 teams in USL League One. They only sit 3 points behind the final playoff spot, which is currently being occupied by Northern Colorado. But if you take other things into effect, goal differential and goals scored, so on and so forth, the math would actually put Richmond out if they win today's match. So they'll actually have a bit of a uphill climb for Richmond, and some of that is not being helped out by the fact that they have accumulated 7 losses in 2024. That ties the most in USL League One's regular season play. In Northern Colorado, on the other hand, they've had themselves an up and down season as well. You almost look at them and see 2 entirely different teams. The team that they put out in the Jägermeister Cup versus the team that they have seen throughout the regular season of play. And none of that is really attributed to anything, but they've been pretty consistent throughout in terms of accumulating their results. It's just that in some instances, some things don't necessarily fall your way. As the goal kick comes out just before it comes for the end line, so it's actually going to be a throw. But with these 2 sides, they want to continue to build upward because they know where they are and where the playoff race is. Things only can get better from here on out, especially where things have lied. Northern Colorado, if you include some of the Jägermeister Cup numbers, they're actually closer in the middle of the pack and right around 4 to 5. But for Richmond, if you put their Jägermeister Cup numbers in action as well, they'd actually be right around 7 to 8. So some of the changes in the recent structure of the regular season may not have necessarily gone into the favor of either of these 2 teams, but you can only play the cards that you are dealt, and they have continuously tried to adjust and adapt along the way through. And with some of the injuries that have come about for both of these 2 teams, that might continuously make things harder as things continue to go on. Northern Colorado missing a couple of guys, with Johnny Fenwick, who is out due to injury. He had a possibility of coming in this game, but they wanted to maybe potentially get him back for the next game to try to potentially not make things worse. Jackson Dietrich, he had an ankle injury that he sustained this week during practice. They didn't want to risk anything, so they allowed Dietrich to sit for this game. And Irvan Para is out due to a personal issue as Horde sends this one into the area, but just a little overhead, stopped by Oprah. He takes a drive and just barely misses the net. Northern Colorado has started off fast in their last couple of matches, and Lucky Oprah tried to go for goal. As we see here, that shot from outside of the area. Jara tried his best to make the diving stop, but he didn't need to make contact. And with Richmond, every single thing is going to matter from here on out. As an almost turnover, gets bobbled up in the air, but Jara has to catch again as the pressure was made by Enoch Kwakwa, who comes in for the aforementioned Jackson Dietrich. He's the substitution place there. Kwakwa makes his 26th start in USL League One. They're both very similar players, Kwakwa and Dietrich, both left-footed, defensive-minded midfielders who can very much also step up when the time is needed as well, as we saw Kwakwa making the press to force that almost chance had things potentially bounce the other way. And with Northern Colorado Hailstorm, they have not necessarily had a lot of time here at Four Rivers Equipment Stadium. They started off the season with only 3 of their 11 regular season matches here in Windsor. They spend the next 8 of the remaining 11 games here at Four Rivers Equipment Stadium. Only 3 other games are on the road, and all 3 of those games are going to be some long road trips, with Central Valley, Charlotte, and Tormenta being those other 3 road games. But they want to get business done at home, as it's going to be cut inside, but it's stripped away by Richmond as it gets fed off for Vignoles. The attempted drive was made by Gill, but he's back on the counterattack. Unable to hold on was Langlois, so Richmond are able to possess off of the deflection, and it makes its way over for Ryan Sierakowski. Comes back inside for Fitch, wants to serve up Terzaghi. Terzaghi couldn't get loose, so Northern Colorado just elevate this one away. Jay Keegan up top, trying to make things go, but right now these two teams have been primarily going back and forth. They're both aware of the offensive talent that they possess, and they want to be careful, especially because they've both been able to provide danger for Richmond. It's being taken by a long try, but that one missed the net as well. Only a half a dozen minutes in, a shot attempt made from range for both Richmond and Northern Colorado. Neither have been able to hit the net. As we see the try there, the left footer from Nil Vignoles was just a little bit off frame. Lalo Delgado just able to sit pretty. And Delgado, he's been the man back in net for Northern Colorado pretty much the entire way of the season. Has played all 21 matches of Northern Colorado's season so far, if you include the Jägermeister Cup and Open Cup. He's been that go-to guy. He's been one of the consummate leaders, continues to show why the overall goaltending in USL League One has been so good. He's one of the ultimate competitors. At least that's the way he was described by his head coach, Ayman Zayed, saying that he wants to concentrate on allowing the fewest goals, having the most clean sheets in the league. Was able to do so last year with a staggering 13 shutouts last year. He continues to build on what he was able to do in 2023, as he has allowed Northern Colorado to be very much in this playoff race. And a lot of that comes with not just what has happened, back-to-back wins, but how those wins came via shutout against 2 of the heaviest hitters in USL League One, with Omaha and Madison, with those wins in back-to-back weeks. Northern Colorado into the area, the deflection goes, just skims wide of the post, but recovered by the Hailstorm. Touched out of play from Richmond. And the first corner of the game belongs to the Hailstorm. Another look at the opportunity there as it just skimmed across the line. Wasn't able to get tapped in, as Gill was unable to get the deflection in. Pablo Jara takes his spot in net, trying to direct traffic, as the corner kicks are brought to you by Meadow Gold. Rael Gill stands over it as it gets served in, deflected low, just comes out towards center pitch, where it's distributed by Patrick Langlois. Keegan makes a move, serves it in, holds up, out for Horde, goes for Gill, looks for an option, and goes for center, and that one just finds its way wide. But back-to-back corners will come for NoCo. So we take another look at the opportunity. Ethan Horde just tipped it. Real Gill was by himself. He wanted to try to go for that 6-yard box, but it was a triple team as a quick volley goes. Bouncer stopped by Jara. Still up for grabs, swung and a miss, and eventually still up there for Northern Colorado. Gill towards center again, blocked away by Richmond as the corner kick was brought to you by Metal Gold once more, and Kwakwa leaves it out for Rendon. Horde unable to get past Suko, make it 3 straight corners for NoCo. All corner kicks brought to you by Metal Gold. For the 3rd time consecutively, Northern Colorado have had corners but haven't been able to make anything go of it. But that isn't without the myriad of threats who linger inside of the box, with Ethan Horde and Bruno Rendon stepping up. Lucky Oprah in the area, as is Jake Keegan. As the in-swinger comes along, gets deflected on and just misses the net. Jara stops the ball from going over the line and may have saved the goal off of the foot of Lucky Oprah, who was going for the deflection in. Couple of opportunities early for Northern Colorado. Gill serves it up and it comes out. Conduct All Electric offers full electrical services for residential, commercial, and industrial, as well as 24-hour emergency services for their clients in Northern Colorado. A little bit too quick on the throw-in, as there are some issues behind the play. It appears to be Lalo Delgado who's a little slow to get up, and if you're Northern Colorado, this is not what you want to see. Delgado has played every single minute of the season so far for Northern Colorado, all but about 11 minutes that were passed off for Russell Shealy. We talked about the impact that Delgado has had, how well he's been able to play, especially in recent form. The last match versus Madison, that 1-0 win up in Wisconsin, was win number 25 for Delgado in USL League One. And one thing that Ayman Zayed wanted to bring up with Delgado was not just how well he's done in net, but how well he directs the traffic in front of him and being able to communicate effectively with his players up front on that defensive line. Talked about how it's one of the many reasons why they have not let as many shots on net that other teams may try to put on Delgado, as he's only stopped 1 shot against Madison, only stopped 2 shots against Omaha in those back-to-back shutouts. So when you consider the level of opponent for Madison, Union Omaha, how well they've gone towards the top of the USL League One in terms of goal scoring and only holding those teams to a combined 3 shots on target, it shows not only what Delgado has been able to do in net, but also the way that he's been able to lead the guys in front of him as well. David Garcia and Breck Evans go back and forth where they try to shoot up words for Lucky Oprah. Richmond head coach Darren Sawatsky said that one of the big things with Northern Colorado is you have to look out every chance you get because they play so vertically. They will play so directly, and Coach Sawatsky even threw out that their game can sometimes get, by his words, chaotic and frantic because of how Northern Colorado can fly all over the place, how effective they are in their decisions, and how a lot of things, whenever NOCO try to set things up, they tend to just go their way. That time it didn't, as it goes for a throw for Richmond. Richmond, 3 consecutive losses to Chattanooga, Greenville, and Lexington. A combined goal differential of 7-2 in those 3 matches. And they've really struggled to sometimes string those results together. They had 3 losses consecutively, which is not something that they've done in 2024, but it is something that they dealt with last year down the stretch. And for Coach Sawatsky, it's not something you want to see, is stringing those losses together, especially when the points are going to count so much more with so few regular season matches being played. But Northern Colorado trying to make the most of their opportunities, gets sent on! The header for Horde goes wide. Gill can only chase for the goal kick. So we take a look once more at that opportunity. Ethan Horde was able to get the header on, just slightly slipped past Griffin Garnett in front of the net. If that one gone in, that could potentially have spelled a lot of trouble for Richmond. But Justin Suko was looking to avoid some of the counterattack efforts from Northern Colorado, and kickers will just dump it away. Ball comes out, no co-throw. David Garcia gets the chance to chuck that one in play. Northern Colorado, they want to continue to build off of some momentum. We mentioned their back-to-back wins, and that's something they've been able to do, is string those wins along, as they had at one point a stretch of 10 games unbeaten earlier in the season. That was back from the start of May to right around the end of June. And when you combine the Jägermeister Cup as well, it really provided a lot of momentum for Northern Colorado because they know what they're able to do. And especially when you had some of the losses they had last year, you lose your leading goal scorer with a guy like Trevor Aman, and make it up with some guys, and the way that they've developed with Ethan Horde, the way that he's come onto the spot since coming on the trials, Jake Keegan on his 1-year loan from One Knoxville, the way that he's been able to contribute, and even Bruno Rendon, only a 2nd-year player. You see some of the changes and how they've been able to affect things. Right there, they were looking for Keegan from Rendon, but Keegan was able to keep it in play. Bill Hart with a poke out. He was able to disrupt Oprah the whole way through. But Northern Colorado will still get a chance to contain the possession away from Richmond. Garcia couldn't hit Rendon. Vignoles tried to skim the line, but it falls out. A yellow card for Ayman Zayed for a little bit of the disruption in play with the ball that rolled out. And that's something that we've seen a little bit from Ayman Zayed. The couple of times he's been booked or even a couple times where he's been sent off. We saw that a couple of weeks ago versus Central Valley. Earlier in July, where Zayed got sent off after a verbal altercation with one of the Central Valley staff members. It's just one of the many things that has plagued Northern Colorado, despite having the fewest yellow cards and amongst the fewest fouls in USL League One. Is the situational of when and where. Sometimes wrong place, wrong time can really screw things up. But Schenfeld wants to uncork one out wide for Adrian Billhart, who's on the chase. Billhart has to get that one pinged off of him as the goal kick will come out of play. Adrian Billhart, a new career high in goals. He's top 5 in the league in terms of goals scored, with 5 in the regular season. His 7 across all USL competitions is a new career high for him. And he continues to be one of the offensive spark plugs for the Richmond Kickers. However, they've struggled to really provide much in the first 20 minutes of play. Northern Colorado continuing to press upfield, and sometimes a little too much so with an offside, but not necessarily a bad thing because those runs are at least being attempted. Only one shot on target to speak of that was made by the Hailstorm, and nothing else more offensively much to talk about since, as we still have zeros on the board in 20.5 minutes. Delgado has to be quick as Terzaghi was chasing him, and that one just barely skips past. Schenfeld retreats for Garnett. Horde was on the chase, so Pablo Jara will handle it. Northern Colorado on the defense as Richmond make transition with Neil Vignoles. Vignoles steps up into the box, stops, tries to get the feed on, but it was disrupted. Back for Schenfeld, getting double teamed. Leaves it for Vignoles. Vignoles wears the captain's armband and absolutely has the opportunity to distribute, as he is top of the league in terms of chances created, is Richmond's captain Vignoles, who retrieves it back off of the feed from Nathan Ani, who makes his return from injury. But it's Schenfeld again. Tries to tightrope that ball along the line, but Schenfeld going up at the body with Gill, who will send it back for Delgado. Nathan Ani up in the air on the disruption and provides a potential opportunity here for Richmond as they start the counterattack the other way off of the turnover from Northern Colorado. Wanted to set up Emiliano Terzaghi, but was unable to hit. Terzaghi's been such a force since returning from a hand injury that took him out for pretty much the entirety of 2024. But he's made his way back into the lineup since returning from injury and has been an impact player, scoring a pair of goals and starting 4 matches since coming back, as Terzaghi is in match start number 98 in USL League One, 103 appearances in the league for the 3-time MVP Terzaghi. Suko splits out wide. Sierakowski returns for Suko. Chandler O'Dwyer. Schenfeld. Skips past Gill as Schenfeld opens up some space, looks for Terzaghi in the area. Terzaghi spins around, gets pestered, leaves it behind for Suko, gets that shot blocked, and comes out of play for a Richmond throw. But a nice attempt there from Justin Suko outside of the area. A Hailstorm player is down after taking the block. So medical assistance is being requested, and that's something that Coach Zayed wanted from his players, especially moving forward, is the total commitment on defense to stop those balls from getting into those dangerous areas. And that's one of the reasons why they've been able to muster up the results, especially as of late defensively, because of the emphasis on not only earning those clean sheets, but understanding what it takes to get to that area by defending in the box, marking your man, staying tight. In Northern Colorado, they've kind of been working with this motto that space and zone doesn't necessarily win games or provides those dangerous opportunities. It's the players who have the most opportunity to provide danger, and that's kind of been that kind of man-to-man defensive mindset that Northern Colorado has recently instilled. It appears to be Patrick Langlois who is making his way up. Patrick Langlois, 24-year-old midfielder from Australia, is in his first season in USL League One after spending his last 5 years playing pro in the land down under. As he makes his way towards the side. As Richmond gets ready for a throw, service into the box. Back post was deflected by Griffin Garnett and out of play. Becker's Safety and Supply has you covered from head to toe. They provide industry-leading products and services to help keep you safe. Located in Windsor and Greeley and online at beckersafety.com. Horde comes upfield, tries to get past one, takes a shot, that one just goes off to the side. Kept in play for King. King works on Fitch. Up top for Kwakwa, he takes a drive, and that's held off by Pablo Jara. A nice couple of attempts there from Northern Colorado, but neither were able to find its way back as Horde, he just works past Garnett, was able to get the shot off. And that one just got denied from Ethan Horde, potentially getting goal number 6 on the year and extending that to a 7th goal. Richmond comes back the other way as they want to try to break this 0-0 deadlock. Nil Vignoles at the top of the box, tries to go wide, but it got blocked by the Hailstorm, so Jake Keegan steps on the gas as he has green grass in front of him. Keegan holds up as he waits for numbers. And Northern Colorado will just hold things back. Rendon and Garcia and Breck Evans, who scored the game winner versus Omaha just a couple of weeks ago, was the second of that 2-goal win. That's helped Northern Colorado do so well, especially in the Jägermeister Cup. They have the most goal scorer. They're the #1 seed in the Western Group in the Jägermeister Cup. They're back in Jägermeister Cup action about a week and a half from today, are the Hailstorm. And they pretty much sit pretty in that Western Group, especially with a 6-goal advantage on the second highest goal scoring group, which is Union Omaha. It just hasn't necessarily translated to the regular season of play, and especially for this Hailstorm team, that can be frustrating. But a lot of teams and coaches have kind of put on this motto, if you will, that this season is the most unique because there's an opportunity to win 2 trophies instead of 1. As the ball's getting held up for a throw-in for Richmond. Schenfeld holds up and Garnett will try to dump it out, but it won't come for long as it's held up. King looks for space. Real Gill centers for Rendon. Rendon tries to center up and scores! Bruno Rendon, a half an hour in, gets Northern Colorado on the board. It's 1-0 for the Hailstorm. This is just some of the work that you do inside the area. Rendon just squeezes that one through. He just turns around and sends that one towards net. Just snuck past Jara, snuck inside of the post, and found its way inside. Give Bruno Rendon number 10 of the 2024 season. And that puts Northern Colorado in the 1-0 advantage. Bruno Rendon scored the goal to get the 1-0 advantage. We are going into a hydration break on this 82-degree day in Windsor, Colorado. Earlier today, the high was 97 degrees. So it has been nothing short of a convection cooker here in the Rockies, as things have continued to be hot, not just in terms of how things have gone, but also in terms of the early scoring for Rendon, as we see the 4th official, Lucas Jozeski, showing the first substitution on the board. Chelo Martinez will enter in for Enoch Kwakwa once we come back from the hydration break. And these two sides, they've continued to battle back and forth. Northern Colorado, they've had a majority of the opportunities. 6 shots attempted versus 2 for Richmond. And only 3 shots on net. All of them have gone to the Hailstorm. The substitutions brought to you by Quiznos. This Northern Colorado team making a substitution only 33 minutes in, with Chelo Martinez coming in favor of Enoch Kwakwa. Martinez makes his 42nd appearance in USL League One, 16th this season, and has been one of those primarily contributors when he starts, but with the differences in availability, as we mentioned at the top, with Johnny Fenwick being out, Jackson Dietrich being out, Irvin Para also being out due to a personal matter. Hailstorm are trying to switch some things around and experiment with some new guys in new places. Neil Vignoles. Around for Suko. Sierakowski. Bruno Rendon scored in the 31st minute of play for his 10th goal in 2024. However, for Rendon, he's only scored 4 of those goals in the regular season. He did get an assist versus Madison last week, enough to get him the team of the week. And that's some of the things you continuously do when you have a guy like Bruno Rendon, so versatile in so many ways. He started today off as a right back, sometimes plays in the wing forward. And that's just a proof of the versatility that one guy can have, as Lalo Delgado has to step up to hold off play. Oprah goes down, but play on. Suko. Vignoles. Neil Vignoles steps up, tries to take a shot, and a goal! We're level at 1. Neil Vignoles steps up to the plate and slots that one in. In his 100th match with the Richmond Kickers, Neil Vignoles ties this game at 1. What a way for number 10 in game number 100. Sends that one from the left foot into the bottom right post. And the captain caps it off. Continues to drive this train forward. As Richmond are tied at 1. Only about 3 minutes after we came back from the hydration break. Rendon with the throw. Blocked in front, headed up by Vignoles. Kept in the possession of the Hailstorm. Rendon scored the opening goal. Wants to make something happen, but he gets some contact on Vignoles and draws the foul on offense. Vignoles, he's a absolute tower of a man. He's someone that many teams have said is a guy who's very difficult to play against, and you saw him kind of get that arm in the face area of Neil Vignoles. That got him a red card versus Knoxville a couple of weeks ago. And that actually allowed Knoxville to take that game 1-0. Where 1 Knox at home with the man up, with the Rendon red card nonetheless, allowed Knoxville to get a stoppage time goal in the 94. That was the last time that Northern Colorado was in the L column midway through July. The USL Summer of Soccer continues on the CBS Sports Network with a rematch of the 2023 USL Championship playoffs. Detroit City FC shocked Players Shield winners Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC and looking for revenge. August 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Bruno Rendon and Neil Vignoles only 5 minutes apart, puts us at 1-1 in the 39th minute, but Ryan Sierakowski wants to start things off for the Kickers. Simon Fitch. Centers, Suko leaves it for Vinyals, wants to return for Suko, couldn't quite get a touch on it as Evans was there for the disruption. Comes out of play, corner kick, the first for Richmond. All corners are brought to you by Metal Gold. Only 3 shots attempted of the 9 so far in favor of Richmond. Only a singular shot on net by none other than the Richmond captain, Neil Vinyals, is the one to get behind Delgado. Ball, in-swinger, back post, stopped by King and comes out of play for a Richmond throw. Maxi Schoenfeld on the long reception. Plays it up for Sierakowski. Sierakowski wants to send it in. It gets deflected on, but just wide. Justin Suko, the recipient. Start number 50 in League One for Suko. Tried to get a goal for the go-ahead as Sierakowski just makes his way past Langlois. And Suko had the space, he had the time, but the header just went wide. Fit No Co, located just west of Four Rivers Equipment Stadium, is a healthy on-the-go option for Windsor and its surrounding areas with healthy meal replacement shakes, protein coffees, and more. Their goal is to make No Co community healthier and happier. Lucky Oprah getting pestered by Chandler O'Dwyer, who strips it away from him and tries to go for Sierakowski. Last goes off of Bill Hart out of play for a No Co throw. Northern Colorado have the possession with only about 3 minutes to go, plus the stoppage time that remains. And with Neil Vinyals' goal in the 36th minute, that ended a streak for Northern Colorado of 216 minutes without a goal allowed. The last goal that they allowed was in the 90+4 in Knoxville, midway through July. And with the 2 consecutive clean sheets and 36 minutes into this match, that ends a well-earned defensive streak for Northern Colorado. But Langlois is back down once again after spending some time on the sideline earlier in the half. Already a substitution for Northern Colorado. That was back at the hydration break with Chelo Martinez coming in for Enoch Kwakwa. A lot of shake-up in the depth because of the way that these two sides have had to deal with their multiple injuries. Richmond aren't without theirs as well. Chris Cole is out with some leg injuries, as is Antonio Pineda. Nick Simmons took a head injury versus Lexington, and Beckett Howell is going to spend some time out due to a hand injury. But the stoppage in play allows for a potential long set piece for Northern Colorado. Cello Martinez came off the bench, stands on the ball. As we're in the final regulation minute of the half. Martinez with the serve, and it's right into the hands of Jara. Richmond basically every single point that they can get because they are pretty much on the outside looking in on the playoff table as of right now. And with an extra half a dozen minutes in the first half to conclude the first half, both of these two sides will continue to just figure out how things will continue to go because of how much these points matter with the abridged regular season, with the Jägermeister Cup in play. And that's going to be the key for these two sides, is how they're going to manage every game going forward, because the points will only mount up in terms of importance. Richmond have only played 13 matches so far, so they're well under 10 games to go in the season. With Northern Colorado, they've had some luck on their side because they have a couple extra games to play with. So the points and the games, mathematically, they're very much in Northern Colorado's favor, especially because they're the last seed on the table that's above the playoff line. So they'll continue to try to make their opportunities go, as Real Gil lets that one go for Horde. He stops that one off the end line but couldn't get the cross off, as Richmond defended the box well, but Garcia holds things up. The full 3 points for Richmond wouldn't necessarily put them into the playoff race, despite only being 3 points behind Northern Colorado. With the tiebreakers and some of the math involved, a win for Richmond would not surpass Northern Colorado. It would put them just underneath, with the results from South Georgia Tormenta pending. You got some goal differentials, some goals scored, just a whole bunch of statistics that would come into play. You're diving into tiebreaker number 3, 4, 5 by the time you sort things out. But every opportunity to get within that range would be a huge benefit for the Kickers, especially being second to last in the league in 2023. And that came after a player shield berth in 2022. So a steep drop off between 2022 and 2023, but it's not about how far you fall, it's about how you recover. And for Richmond, it starts with the final 9 games of the regular season, as they also have a very steep uphill climb in the Jägermeister Cup standings as well. Garcia goes long for Horde, but Jara has to come out to make the stop. Another 3 minutes or so to go in first half stoppage, as Vignoles gets tangled up with Keegan as the ball gets dropped off for Horde. Horde makes a man miss, comes across, wanted to go for King, but it got held up with Ani and Fitch amongst the many clogging up the area. Adrian Billhart for Suko. Vignoles. Back heel for Schenfeld, has Suko in space, has to get past Langlois. Tries to cut it inside, but couldn't quite get it to go. And that might be a point for a potential second half adjustment, maybe a substitution due to injury, or maybe just attack at Langlois like Suko attempted to, because he's been down twice in the half. Garnett and Arnie continue to go back and forth. Nathan Arnie recovering from a lower leg injury that sidelined him for large portions of the season. Didn't get his first appearance until late May, but another try for Schenfeld was unable to find its way through as Northern Colorado send this one out. Ethan Hoare's on the midfield, and last one off of the kickers. With Northern Colorado, they've pretty much been very much in the playoff race for every single year of their short existence. They were just narrowly out of the playoffs in 2022. They got all the way to the third seed in 2023 where they made the semifinals. They got beat in a 3-1 match versus the Charlotte Independents in the semifinals of the playoffs last year. So they want to continue to escalate, going up, up, and up, due Northern Colorado. And especially with the way they sit in the Jägermeister Cup, there is a chance that they could walk away with at least one trophy if they continue that Jägermeister Cup form. But if they can translate that into the regular season as well, especially down the stretch, it only matters just getting into the dance. And what will you do afterward is up to you. Martinez into the area, disrupted by Richmond, and chipped up and out by Fitch, as that will conclude the first half of play here in Windsor. 1-1 is where we stand after 45 minutes of play. Bruno Rendon and Nil Vignoles beating Jara and Delgado as we are tied up, and we have plenty from around USL when we return.
If you love money-saving offers and the chance to win cash, look no further than your mailbox. Valpak delivers exclusive deals to neighborhoods across America every month. Plus, a $100 check could be yours. That's right, you could win $100 instantly, no strings attached, just for opening your blue envelope. Valpak, real savings and real winning for real people. Really.
Hello from NOCO Humane, your community partner for comprehensive animal welfare services in Larimer and Weld counties. While you may not recognize our new name and logo, we have more than 50 years of experience and expertise formerly operating as Larimer Humane Society. We have expanded our reach and our impact, taking on the sheltering and care of animals in Weld County. In light of the dissolution of the Humane Society of Weld County, this transition ensures that vital animal services will not only continue, but thrive, bringing even greater compassionate care and commitment to the pets and people of Northern Colorado. Join us as we heal, nurture, and protect more than 10,000 companion animals in the year to come. 2 shelters, 1 mission. NOCO Humane.
We're back here in Windsor, Colorado, where things are tied up 1-1 between the Hailstorm and the Kickers on this Saturday night. There's been a lot of action, not just in this game, but across the entirety of USL as we take a look at what's been happening of the recent matches in USL and USL League One as we take a look at the highlights from match week 15. And things got started off with the Greenville triumph and one Knoxville.
Now Evan back across. Could not find Hayden.
It was a scoreless match between these two. Both goalkeepers were absolutely on it, with Christian Garner and Sean Lewis just making stop after stop. It's tied at 0 after the 90 minutes were played. Lexington SC and the Richmond Kickers. We talked about this match in the open because of how things went with these two. Things got started off hot with Azad Liadi starting off just before the halftime break. But when we came back from the halftime break, it was Adrian Billhart who got that opening goal for the Richmond Kickers. But the party would only continue for so long as Lexington would come back in full force with Atez Diouf scoring the go-ahead goal for the 2-1 win for Lexington over Richmond. Lexington would continue to climb the table in the regular season. Northern Colorado Hailstorm, they went to Wisconsin where things got started off hot. Back post goes for Billy King, only 65 seconds into the match. That was the one and only goal that Northern Colorado needed to get past the Mingos in Wisconsin. A hostile road environment is Madison, one of the best fan bases. However, they had to leave that one disappointed in a 1-0 decision maker. Only 65 seconds in, and that was it in terms of the goal scoring between NOCO and Madison. Some continued sportsmanship continues to play throughout as King, his 3rd goal of the regular season, was the one that was the tiebreaker. Union Omaha hosted Chattanooga Red Wolves last week, where a red card for Red Wolves would potentially, seemingly, maybe get things through. However, things would continue to go as the deflection came off of Mashak Jerome. It was the own goal in the 74th minute. That was the only goal that was slotted home, but Omaha would continue on. The Red Wolves defended well. That Gustavo Fernandez red card, no problem there for the Red Wolves. Spokane and Charlotte, the new leader in the Golden Boot race, Juan Carlos Obregon gets that one from Gabriel Oberton. They've both been so deadly since they got paired up together with the Obregon signing. The Oberton return from injury. Spokane would respond, however, with Josh Doling getting the equalizer from one of their new signings, Masango Akale. However, things would continue to go in Charlotte's favor as Ahmad Longmire would get the yellow card in the area, and Obregon just buries the penalty kick for the 2-1 lead going into the half for Charlotte. However, the aforementioned Akale, he is a new signing for Spokane. He just drills that one behind Austin Pack for Spokane as things would get level up at 2. However, that would not be it for this game as Oberton got an assist. He doubles up with a goal as well. And then Joel Johnson, he assisted on that Oberton goal. And then about 10 minutes after assisting Oberton, gets one himself. 4-2 for Charlotte, the Jacks over Spokane. Fuego and Tormenta over in Fresno as the party got started pretty early, 6 minutes in for Pedro Fonseca. But things would not continue for long as a deflection from Mariona would actually graciously find its way behind Tormenta's net. Jerome could only do so much, especially off of a deflection like that. But Tormenta will respond back as Sebastian Vivas was all alone and makes the sliding kick towards the roof. That would be the 2-1 goal for Tormenta. However, that'd be about it, as Isayaya off of the set piece would equalize things at 2 apiece off of the assistance from Alfredo Bedense. That thing would tie things up at 2, and Central Valley Fuego, just before things got down in the 73rd minute, Siobhan John Brown across for Bankston was all alone in the back post. Drew Romig had no chance to get that one clean. Plenty from around USL League One and plenty of action in our match in Windsor, Colorado. Northern Colorado Hailstorm and Richmond Kickers, even at 1. More from USL when we return.
The day you are born and the day you find out why.
Yeah, I said what I said. I don't care. I paint the town red.
If you can survive this, it's going to make the whole story that much better.
The bright horses are broken free from the fields.
They're hungry for the women's game. They want to see women's soccer. They want to play women's soccer, and that's what we're building at the USL.
You can see it in my eyes. Only want the best. And we rebounding every night. Won't settle for less. Got me looking to the sky. Got me feeling blessed. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest. Burning up inside of my chest. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
On the surface, your retirement plan might look solid. With your 401k or IRA, Social Security, investments, and insurance coverage, you appear to have it all covered. But what could you be missing? Below the surface, is your retirement exposed to too much risk? It's time for a deeper dive into your portfolio. We can help you uncover the risk that lies beneath the surface and learn about strategies to help preserve your savings. Get your free risk analysis today.
We're back here at Four Rivers Equipment Stadium in Windsor, Colorado. Northern Colorado and Richmond are tied up at 1-1 apiece. And there's plenty from around USL and USL League One as we get into the latest updates on what's been happening in USL and USL League One. Tormenta defender Nick Akoto has been transferred to the EFL League One's Burton Albion FC for a USL League One record-breaking fee. A tough loss for Nick Akoto and for Ian Cameron. However, for Nick Akoto, that helps him out with an opportunity elsewhere. And the signing of El Salvador international Dustin Correa was announced last Thursday. He'll be added on to the Jacks. We saw how the midseason signing of Juan Carlos Obregon has been working plenty for Charlotte. Let's see how that continues going with another midseason addition, especially from overseas as well. And USL players from the Olympics, Edison Azcona is representing Dominican Republic. Riley Bidwar is representing New Zealand at the Paris Olympics in France. A lot's been going on overseas as well. As we take a look at some of the scores from out of town, all 3 matches from today's set of games are currently concluded. Union Omaha and Madison were tied up at 2. Charlotte and Lexington were tied at 3. After Lexington took a 3-1 lead, Charlotte came back with 2 unanswered, and Central Valley Fuego beat Chattanooga Red Wolves. That's the first time that Central Valley Fuego have strung along 2 consecutive wins at all at this point in the season. The only game that's still going is in Statesboro. They've been held up with some rain delays. But as we mentioned, Central Valley Fuego, they have officially won 2 games back-to-back. Alfredo Medense was your player of the week. We've talked about some of the other guys from around the league as well who have been contributing continuously. Bruno Rendon, he was switched out to the back line of Iman Zayed's lineup. He is also part of the team of the week. You got 3 Jacks in there, a couple of Flamingos as well. And Issa Yaya and Alfredo Medense, they linked up for that go-ahead goal that helped both of them be a part of this team of the week of week 15. Let's see how things go for week 16 as we are still stuck at 1s apiece between Northern Colorado and Richmond. Second half kickoff when we return.
A hospital patient needs help only blood can provide. That help depends on volunteer blood donors. When you take an hour and donate blood with nonprofit Vitalant, you can help save more than one life. Recent donor eligibility updates now allow even more people to roll up a sleeve and give. Learn more and make your appointment at Vitalant.org. Because of you, life doesn't stop.
Plenty of action in the first half of play between the Hailstorm and Horde sends this one into the area, but just a little over opportunities for both sides as things got started off. Only minutes in, that first opportunity was just skimming wide off the foot of Lucky Oprah, but that wasn't the only opportunity provided, as in the 6th minute, first shot attempt was being made by none other than Nil Vignoles, but he was just a touch wide. Lalo Delgado just let that one fly over him, and in the 26th minute, another opportunity came. This one came off the foot of Ethan Hoare, just gets past Garnett, got denied by Jara, and then the follow-up was available, but nothing was able to come there either. And in the 30th minute, just a one-man wrecking crew with Real Gil receiving the pass, just finds Rendon into the box and just turns around and just sends that one towards net to beat Pablo Jara for the first goal of the game at the half-an-hour mark. And only about 5 minutes later would Richmond respond. Quick feed for Nil Vignoles, who's been so good, just lets that one fly and just gets that one beyond the fingers of Lalo Delgado. This game is at 1-1 because of Rendon and what Vignoles have done as well. As the two teams are back and forth waiting for the second half kickoff, some of the shirts are being represented to rally behind not only the team but the local community, as Alexander Mountain, only 23 miles west of today's match, is experiencing wildfires that have exceeded 9,000 acres. Hailstorm co-owner Casey Katofsky talked about how it's been destroying lives and homes for the community, and they want to support the firefighters by selling these red, white, and blue shirts to support the Loveland Fire Rescue Community and Weld Food Bank. We wish nothing but the best for the community of Windsor and the counties of Larimer and Weld and the surrounding areas. We wish nothing but the best going forward for the local communities in Colorado as they start off the second half of play with the possession of the ball, as we are still level at 1 because of Bruno Rendon and Nil Vignoles. So because of the continuous action that Patrick Langlois has had, you saw him go down a couple of times. Haruki Yamazaki comes into the match to start the second half off, but Oprah, he's on the prowl. He tries to find opportunity. In front goes Oprah. Blocked in front. Nathan Awney was the body in the way. So some contact just outside of the area will provide a free kick for the Hailstorm. And for Richmond, this is pretty much not what you want to see, especially to start off on the second half. Because Northern Colorado can score in bunches. Martinez into the area, gets juggled around, and that one just barely goes beyond the far post as Jara will send it away for a goal kick. But a nice opportunity here for Chelo Martinez. He just sends that one into the area, just continues to bounce around, comes out the other way, and it comes no one. Rendon was looking for it. You saw that Keegan was amongst a couple of guys in there as well, but no one was able to walk away with the opportunity. Ethan Hoare tries to fight off Garnett and Awney, but it just rolls out of play for a corner for Northern Colorado.
Corner kicks tonight are brought to you by Meadow Gold.
All corner kicks are brought to you by Meadow Gold. This is the fourth corner opportunity for Northern Colorado, the first chance of the half. As this does provide a new wrinkle with Chelo Martinez getting subbed in at the 31st minute off of that hydration break. He didn't serve up the first couple of corners, but he will serve this one on the in-swinger. Up for grabs, it's headed down and out from Richmond. Kickers continue to keep it out as a foot race for Adrian Billhart. Couldn't chip it past Billy King, so he will send it back for Yamazaki. And with Yamazaki in for Langlois, this adds a new wrinkle as the Japanese midfielder can play back when needed, but he can also go up. Kind of fills in. You saw Breck Evans stepping up with Yamazaki coming back. That can go vice versa either way, especially because in Yamazaki's second career match in the Jägermeister Cup, he scored a goal and an assist versus Knoxville back in the start of May. That was that 5-1 thrashing at the University of Tennessee. As Horde looks for an option, leaves it. Rendon serves into the area, too high for anyone to get it. So Rael Gill, he gets his first League One assist off of that Rendon goal. And Justin Suko, he gets his first assist of the season on the Vignoles goal. Foul up into the area, Emiliano Terzaghi. We haven't called out his name very much because he's passed for Vignoles, got stripped by Yamazaki. Now another chance goes for the Hailstorm as they take a drive. Another opportunity for Northern Colorado. Rael Gill could not bury, but he was streaking along that far side, and he almost got that one past Pablo Jara for the second time. And that is what Richmond are trying to be careful of with Northern Colorado, because they are so good on the counterattack. Richmond knows that NoCo, they're very direct in the way that they play. They just kind of converge towards the box and just continue to push numbers forward. That has been their game all season long. It's worked wonders for them with the most goals in the Jägermeister Cup. However, for one reason or another, has not necessarily translated to the regular season. They're the highest scoring team in the Jägermeister Cup, but the lowest scoring team in regular season play. And when we talked to Ayman Zayed about it, he didn't really have a definitive answer on why that might be. It just simply comes down to the way that they play. They know they can execute. They know they have the pieces in what it takes. And they have the quality to make it go. And how a lot of times when things don't go their way, it's not necessarily anything on the collective that the system has worked well. Just maybe an individual mistake here and there as an individual effort tries to go, but Billy King has to chase after that as no one was available to receive the service in the box. King tries to go for Oprah, but Oprah goes way high for a Jota throw. Are you feeling benched in your career? With more than 90 career-focused programs, University of Northern Colorado Extended Campus can help you get in the game. For more information, go to extended.unco.edu. Throw-in goes far for Richmond. No one was quite on the receiving end. Adrian Billhart, the only one in the vicinity. But it goes for a no-co throw. Ethan Hoare tries to poke it up ahead. Tries to go across for Keegan, and that one got blocked. Good read from Maxi Schenfeld to provide the tap-in goal for Gill. To prevent the tap-in goal for Gill. Aggressive pressure coming from Northern Colorado. Suko losing space quickly. So Richmond will just send this one back. You saw in those first couple of opportunities of the half, those crosses into the area, very lateral once the Hailstorm get into the attacking third. Yamazaki takes a foul on the offensive side. Fans don't like it, but it's fair off of the verdict of Michael Zapata, with Jared Mosher and Jay Norris the assistant referees and Lucas Jasfecki as the fourth official. And as you saw with Northern Colorado earlier, before we got cut off by that foul, that a lot of those crossing opportunities, it's almost like the second they get into the attacking third, Northern Colorado do, they tend to go laterally, as that was the play attempted by Chandler O'Dwyer, but the disruption couldn't quite get the pass complete. Foul goes against Richmond. Northern Colorado ball as Horde tries to get it free. Yamazaki. Near side goes Lucky Oprah. Richmond trying to make their defensive adjustments as Oprah will just send this one all the way back for David Garcia. Garcia with a seam, couldn't quite hit Gill. Rendon able to get it back for his team. In the middle, Cello Martinez finds a man, takes a shot as that one is a swing just wide. The attempt made by Keegan. Jake Keegan tried to go for a goal. He's on his fourth League One team in 6 years. Spent some time with One Knox. He's on loan from One Knox. He tried to get that one through for Pablo Jara. However, on the spin around, so the ruling was a goal kick, but I do understand the complaint for Keegan for potential corners. It did deflect off of Ani, but it's up for grabs now. It's Northern Colorado into the center area, scores! 2 goals for NOCO, and Ethan Horde gets his 7th of the year. We talked about what Richmond has been concerned about, that vertical game, and that's exactly what happened. Horde was able to dish it out. Real Gil was all alone on that far side, and once the defense started to converge towards Gil, that opened things up for Horde to just take up that space up the middle and charges through for the second goal for Northern Colorado. And that is what a lot of what the Hailstorm have missed in regular season action, is some of those offensive contributions from guys like Horde and Rendon. Rendon had 10 goals, if you include the one today, with only 4 of them being in regular season play. Ethan Horde had 7 goals, only 2, now 3 of them have come in regular season play. So that's really been the big disparity between what has come in the results of the Jägermeister Cup and the regular season for Northern Colorado, is that they're big guys, they're top offense producers. It's not the same rate once they get to the regular season, but if you're a Hailstorm fan or Iman Zayed, you're very happy and thankful that your top guys like Horde, like Rendon, they are getting those guys not only the opportunities, but also they're able to get them to the back of the net as well. Northern Colorado having to defend on a stoppage in play for Richmond. Tune into ESPN2 for USL Summer of Soccer Showdown in the top of the table interconference clash. As that one comes into the area, gets headed out. Powerhouse Louisville City FC facing off against perennial playoff contender Sacramento Republic FC Saturday, August 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern. Corner kick for Richmond. They only had 1 in the first half. This is their first in the second half, as all corner kicks are brought to you by Meta Gold. Into the area it goes and cleared away by Northern Colorado. Still held in as the chip shot goes. They wanted the far post. Held in by Schenfeld. Comes into the area. Chaos at the 6. No one able to get it, but eventually the Hailstorm clear. Vigneault just tried everything he could to get past Gil, and Gil was just a roadblock in the way. Martinez lays it back. Breck Evans. Evans almost had a disastrous turnover for Emiliano Terzaghi, but it graciously finds its way for Lalo Delgado. As it comes up for Rendon. Rendon into the area. No one there. King couldn't quite get it to go as the bounce did not fall his way. So Bill Hart got disrupted by Yamazaki, comes out of play. Who gets the throw? It goes towards the kickers. A pair of assists for Real Gil. He didn't have any assists going into today. He comes out with 2. 1 to set up Rendon, 1 to set up Ethan Horde. As Richmond, they just have to find any way to try to claw the way back as we're at the hour mark. Northern Colorado in 2024, they've won 8 games and only had a singular draw. whenever they get the first goal of the game. And for Richmond, they have yet to win, and they've allowed the first goal 14 times this season. They haven't walked out of any of those games with a win. Only 4 draws to speak of. Deflected into the area, into the hands of Pablo Jara. Quick tussle near center goes Richmond's way. Richmond want to continue to possess, especially with the way that Northern Colorado have just been able to come, especially with speed. It's been hard for Richmond to get the possession, especially because when they do, as we saw several times throughout the game, even right now, Hailstorm have just been coming up with pressure. And when you have that pressure, it can make the offense really hard for the other team. And it's been something that Northern Colorado has been working on, especially because they want to try to emphasize the man-on-man defense whenever possible, the Hailstorm. And it's helped them out very well. The 3rd fewest goals in the league, back-to-back shutouts. And if you include that one game versus one Knoxville, that's only 4 goals. That's only 2 goals allowed in the past 4 games thus far, unless Richmond can get another one back. Adrian Billhart. Chandler O'Dwyer. Drives it up the line as it just fell behind Terzaghi. But Richmond are still on it. They want to continue to possess as Suko and O'Dwyer try to escape the multitude of purple jerseys in their way. Nathan Awney. Centers, Billhart. Suko has taken several attempts at net, but he was getting triple teamed there, so Dwyer has to find a way out. He looks for Schenfeld. They played all the way back. We've seen in games past for Richmond how they can outpossess opponents and maybe even out-statistic them, but at the end of the day, they might get those losses, as sometimes it comes down for the defense as they have to look at Real Gil. Drops it off for Martinez! As that one comes wide, did not take a touch. Richmond, with the way that things have gone, especially with a 1-0 lead in the 60th, a 1-0 deficit in the 65th minute, they might be looking at some substitutions. It looks like they might be trying to get a trio of guys ready on deck. But who knows how things might shake out, as it's still kept in the possession for the Kickers. You've got 6, 7, and 8 ready to go. Zaka Moran, Landon Johnson, and Joao Gomero ready for the next stoppage in play to take their spot for the Kickers. But Oprah sends it off for Garcia. Rendon streaks up that far sideline as he gets taken down by Sierakowski. Foul against Richmond. So there was a booking after all of that, especially with the way the contact went. It was Sierakowski on Rendon. So that will be the first booking for Richmond, as Northern Colorado took one against Ayman Zayed. But just because there's a stoppage in play does not mean this is where Darren Sawatsky wants to insert his guys who are ready to go in. The 2-1 match for Northern Colorado. Can they make it 3? Martinez, chaos in the area, comes free for Rendon. Gill serves it up once more. Horde holds, looks for an escape from O'Dwyer. Horde serves it up again, headed up in the air and over the net. And now the substitutions will be made. So Zaka Moran, Landon Johnson, and Joao Gomiero will all enter the match, as Justin Suko will come in for Moran. Ryan Sierakowski will exit, as will Adrian Billhart. As all the substitutions are brought to you by Quiznos. And maybe the most interesting thing with those set of substitutions made by Darren Sawatsky is not necessarily who came in, but who came out, with Emiliano Terzaghi and Nathan Awney coming back from injury. Awney takes the ball on the touch again for Jara. He said that when sometimes those guys are coming back from injuries, especially because of how long they've been out of the game, it takes them time to get back to form, and they've been playing more contributively, as Terzaghi sends it in and just misses the net. We just talked about how Terzaghi was just getting back into the swing of things, back to regular form. He's been starting more regularly for the kickers, but couldn't get that one through as he just missed the net. But a nice setup here, as Terzaghi had the screen in front as well off of Gomiero, and Johnson providing some traffic in front to disrupt the eyes of Delgado, but Terzaghi just couldn't get the touch he wanted. You can see that Terzaghi's still wearing the wrap on his hand to protect the injury that sidelined him for so much of the season. This is Nathan Awney. He's contributed consistently ever since coming back from injury in May. He was second on the team in minutes last year and only playing in his 10th match in all League One competitions. So having someone who's played that much for you last season in Awney and him not being available this year has been a huge loss for Richmond. But they have to come all the way back as Yamazaki takes a collision on O'Dwyer. It's Martinez, rather. Simon Fitch lays it back for Jara. As the long ball gets attempted and just gets touched out of play by Johnson. Wing Shack is proud to sponsor Hailstorm FC and Future Legends Complex. Craving some cold beer and delicious wings? Visit wingshackwings.com or any of the 10 regional Wing Shack locations. Wing Shack gets a huge hell yeah from all. (2-1) for Northern Colorado over the Richmond Kickers in the 71st minute. Ethan Horde got one through in the 55th minute, which is the go-ahead goal after Bruno Rendon opened things up. Both of them got assisted by Real Gil. Rendon got started a half an hour in, and then 5 minutes after Rendon scored, Novinho's got the equalizer. So 2 goals in the first half. We stopped halfway at the 45-minute mark, even at 1. But only about 15 minutes ago did Ethan Horde get one behind Pablo Jara for the second of the game. Vinyl scored the first goal. What can he do here, especially with the Vinyls? He's not typically a shooter. He's primarily a setup guy. He's first in the league in terms of chances created, and he's largely been able to set up other guys as well. Moran has his chance blocked back, finds his way for Vinyls. Lays it out for Simon Fitch. Fitch tries to go for center as that one is held on. Lalo Delgado read that one through. Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Northern Colorado currently 8th placed in the USL League One table going into today. Richmond Kickers only 3 points behind them. Hailstorm, they occupy that final playoff spot, and if Richmond can somehow claw their way back, that could shake things up, as Tormenta, Richmond were both tied for those 15 points that occupy the last spot going into today. But as of right now, especially with the way things have gone, Richmond would love to at least avoid a 4th consecutive loss. As a player is down for Noco, appears to be Real Gil. 2 assists on the day for him after not having any throughout the season thus far. The Trinidad and Tobago international continues to be a key contributor for Ayman Zayed. These two sides have competed against each other 7 times. This is match number 8. The last time they played was earlier this season, back on June 22nd. That was a 2-0 win at City Stadium. And this is the last time these two teams will play. Richmond had the big advantage early on in this head-to-head series, as they had a draw and 2 wins in favor of the Kickers, but since then Northern Colorado have won the last 3, and in those 3 matches Northern Colorado has had the upper hand in the goal department, 7-1 against the Kickers in those 3 matches. So Northern Colorado have been able to get the results they need against Richmond. It could potentially come here. Billy King is on a 2-on-1, but Kickers converge, and eventually Zaka Moran sends that one off. Terzaghi almost had the opportunity to translate that pass into a potential run, but that was not necessarily the case, as it was just a touch-off target for Terzaghi, the initial target there. Couple of Kickers, couple of Hailstorm ready to get into this match. As you can see, Dakota Barnathan and Guy Franca setting things up with the 4th official. Long range chance goes over the bar and out of play. as we have our Quiznos substitution at the 76th minute of play. Maxi Schenfeld is done for the rest of this match. He'll be getting replaced by Guy Franca and also Nathan Awney. We talked about his return from injury. Well, he's going to have to sit out the rest of the match as Dakota Barnathan will take his spot. As we take our secondary hydration break on the 78-degree day. The high earlier was of 97, so it is scalding here in Windsor as we take a look at what has happened in the first 75 minutes of play between Northern Colorado and the Richmond Kickers in this 2-1 match of match week 16 in USL League One. Bruno Rendon and Ethan Horde were able to get it done with no Vignoles, sliding it in for Richmond. As we take a look at the goals that have come in this match. This one started things off at the 31st minute. A quick feed off for Bruno Rendon, just turns around, sends that one through for the opening goal of the game, only 31 minutes in. However, Nil Vignoles would respond about 5 minutes later, just coming off of the hydration break. Vignoles would get that one through. That is his third goal of the season. 115 appearances, 100 of them have gone to the Kickers. And then the setup from Rael Gill to Ethan Horde puts Colorado up ahead. That would provide Horde with his third goal of the regular season, 7 in the season in totality, as Noah Powder will come on for Billy King. Quick deflection, couldn't quite make its way for Fitch. So it's an Oprah throw. Richmond has used all 5 of their substitutions, and Northern Colorado's only used up 2. That Powder for King sub was their first substitution since the 31st minute at the first half hydro break when Chelo Martinez came on for Enoch Kwakwa. And when you consider, for Northern Colorado at least, some of the personnel they brought off of the bench, they're very comfortable because they know who they have available. And it really makes things a lot easier because they know that no matter who is inside of this match, anyone can contribute. And they tend to be later in those late game situations because of it. And because they have that scoring depth of anyone who can come off the bench can contribute. Jake Keegan has primarily been on the bench. Noah Powder has come off of the bench and contributed plenty. And Chelo Martinez has been throwing up every single corner since he's been on. As Bruno Rendon's goal in the 31st minute currently served as the game winner. At least the one that got things started. And once things got tied up, I went to Ethan Horde. If you take a look at that last piece of contact, Rendon just slid in and just took the legs out from under Johnson, it appears. And it provides a free kick opportunity for Richmond. Richmond has scored many times, especially in late game set pieces. Rendon got a yellow card amongst that as well. Service into the area, gets deflected, is just missed. But Richmond are able to get back on it. as it comes back for Landon Johnson. Joao Gomieros into the area, and Delgado with the snag. Oprah along the line for Gill. And Martinez took a quick clip from behind. That will be a booking for Richmond. It goes towards Zaka Moran. As in his USL career, that actually puts Moran at 40 yellows in his 4-year USL League One career. So Zaka Moran, also one of the many players on this Richmond Kickers roster working their way back from injury. Moran was questionable with a leg injury going into each of the last 2 weeks. However, he's been feeling a lot better in terms of just the way that he's been able to move with that leg in training, in games played. Came off of the bench in the 76th minute. But Chelo Martinez is getting looked at, especially after he was the one who came on for Enoch Kwakwa. Now he's getting looked at. And a stoppage in play for Lucky Oprah, who will send this one off. Turnaround ball falls right for Horde. Try to go for Gill, disrupted by Johnson, so it allows Richmond to get back on it. A nice sliding attempt there by Martinez after taking the clip from behind to get himself back into play. Now Yamazaki takes a bump from O'Dwyer. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Plus, hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more. All on Sirius XM FC 157 and the new Sirius XM app. As that one comes out for corner, another one for Northern Colorado, as all corners are brought to you by Metal Gold. This is corner number 5 for NoCo, second of the half. This time Noah Powder will distribute. However, some scuffling inside of the area. Rendon is down on the pitch. Got to be careful with Bruno Rendon. He is a very large target to hit. As Powder comes to the top of the area, Real Gill settles, shoots, and that one gets blocked in front. That might have been Moran who committed fully to take the block away, but now streaking down the sideline is Johnson. Johnson centers for Vignoles. Vignoles cuts inside and tries to find a man. Goes back post, no one available, but making the run is Fitch. Fitch towards the area, swept away by Yamazaki. 5 minutes to go in regulation time. Richmond want to make up a 1-goal deficit after an Ethan Horde goal about a half an hour ago. If the result stands, Northern Colorado would get their 3rd consecutive win. They've won back-to-back. They want to make it 3 straight. Richmond have lost their last 3. They want to avoid a 4th consecutively. Especially with the playoff positioning. Richmond's on the outside looking in. And a 4th consecutive loss will not do them any favors, as the goal kick comes from Lalo Delgado off of a misplay intended for Fitch. The USL Championship is on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to USLChampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. Delgado looks ready to send this one away as his team have a 2-1 advantage, and there's been a lot going on for Northern Colorado as they have just been very statistically one-sided, including the scoreline. 17 shots to 6, 4 on target to 1. With the recent stretch of possession, Richmond has actually taken over the possession, but in terms of touches in the box and shots in the area, it's all been Northern Colorado. It'd be a very lopsided bar graph if there was one mapped out. A quick escape for Vignoles as he tries to look for Joao Gomero. Moran has Fitch out wide, tries to look past Gill, returns for Gomero. Gomero into the area for Fitch as that one got touched out of play by Oprah. It hits the sideline, but does it go for a corner or throw? It's a Richmond throw. As a late yellow card gets thrown in towards the direction of Lucky Oprah. That's the 3rd yellow card provided for Northern Colorado. Only 2 for Richmond. Richmond wanted to go quick, but business had to be done by the head official. As we take the throw, Vignoles works on Chelo Martinez. Scoops it up, goes for Gomero. Return, Vignoles has Johnson, couldn't quite wiggle loose, and Oprah has it. Oprah, a fadeaway clear, and earns the whistle regardless. So we have another Quiznos substitution as Danny Robles and Marky Hernandez will come in with Jake Keegan and Real Gill coming out. Gill, he's been so good in this game. 2 assists, he's been everywhere trying to set everyone up. He's able to find open spaces but doesn't use them to shoot. He's been using them, at least in this match so far, to find the next open guy. And that's why Gill has been so dangerous in this game. And Jake Keegan, he's been on the tail end of a couple opportunities but hasn't quite been able to convert. So Hernandez and Robles will be tasked with trying to close things out. Gomero has that one last off of a Hailstorm player, so it's a throw-in for Richmond. 7 minutes of extra time provided, and with Richmond, this late game surge could potentially benefit them with all of that extra stoppage time. Especially when you consider the stoppages made for injuries, substitutions, and the hydro break. This might help the kickers out as O'Dwyer just looks for anyone to continue advancing forward. No Vignoles has Gomiero, but just retreats it back for Barnathan, who he and Franca continue to connect and inch their way up. Gomiero has to work past Robles. Moran for Garnett. 1 minute down of 7. Quick chip up, couldn't quite get the connecting pass. That was intended from Moran to Gomiero, but the contact is being deemed on the offensive side. So it will be a Northern Colorado ball. Northern Colorado go back to the road in Jägermeister Cup action. They have to head from the Pacific Northwest of Spokane all the way down to the southeast of Statesboro in back-to-back weeks before coming back here to Greenville. They go to Fresno to face the Fuego, and then the rest of the games are back here at Four Rivers Equipment Stadium. And for Richmond, after 2 consecutive matches on the road, they would love nothing more than to take some Jägermeister Cup action back to City Stadium, where they host South Georgia Tormenta, but take another 2-game road trip to Furman to play the Triumph and Union Omaha, 2 of the top teams in the regular season and in Jägermeister Cup action. Tormenta's in the Jägermeister Cup, and Greenville and Omaha, that back-to-back road stretch, will be in the regular season of play, as Vignoles gets a yellow card after some extracurriculars at the end of that play.
Richmond yellow cards, number 10, Neil Vignoles.
And for Richmond, we talked about how much every point matters. We take a look at that last opportunity there, and it was that spike of the ball. Johnson wants to get free. He couldn't get past as Yamazaki was clasping, but the offensive foul goes, and it goes Noko's way. Richmond have maybe 4 minutes to try to at least salvage a point, because their next 2 regular season opponents are probably the 2 toughest teams in League One. On their home turf, they have to go to Furman to play the Greenville Triumph, and over in Papillion to play the Owls of Omaha. 2 teams who are vying for that number 1 overall seed. Greenville has to play in Northern Colorado as well. However, the Triumph have to come here to Four Rivers Stadium, as there's just a big mess for that race for the top of the table, with Madison, Greenville, Omaha, and Charlotte all a single point apart. So it's going to be some tough sledding for these 2 going forward because of who they play and what's at stake for the other teams. But they have to take care of business themselves to advance themselves into the playoff hunt. Intended for Fitch, out of play, throw in Richmond. Maybe 2.5 minutes ago. Wants to hit the end line for Fitch as he gets bodied off and gets sent off. Horde and Barnathan tangle up, and that goes free for a potential 2-on-1. Marky Hernandez comes across. Jara steps up, and that's the finishing nail for Northern Colorado. Noah Powder gets the 3rd. His first of the season. Noah Powder continues the onslaught for the Hailstorm, and 3 goals for Hailstorm will lock up 3 points for Noko. That tangle up with Horde and Barnathan just allowed Marky Hernandez all the space A quick dump off for Powder, and as Jara attempts to step up, he cannot stop that shot as Ethan Powder wanted to get that first goal of the season, and he does off of the left foot and gets the 3 to the Hailstorm for the 3 in the standings. And that might be the final nail as Northern Colorado have doubled up on their lead. Towards center, 2 for Terzaghi, cleared away, and Noko. They have an opportunity. Ethan Horde on a breakaway. Horde by himself gets blocked by Barnathan. Barnathan with a last-ditch effort to salvage anything for Richmond as they're 2 goals behind, only have a minute to go. And with both of these two sides playing in Jägermeister Cup next week, things can continue to roll for Northern Colorado as they play against Spokane. And for Northern Colorado, they would love to take that game in Washington State to potentially lock up the West group. eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. As Lalo Delgado will set the ball down for a goal kick, most likely the final action of the game. That's the end of this game between the Hailstorm and the Kickers. Hailstorm get 3 for 3 points and their 3rd win in the row. The Kickers have dropped down to 4 losses consecutively. And that is how things will end here in Windsor. Northern Colorado Hailstorm with 3, Richmond Kickers with 1. A very eventful match between both sides. However, when it's all said and done, Rendon, Horde, and Powder get it to go for a very important 3 points in the playoff hunt for Northern Colorado. Plenty more from this match as we recap this 3-1 match in favor of the Hailstorm.
Blood can provide. That help depends on volunteer blood donors. When you take an hour and donate blood with nonprofit Vitalent, you can help save more than one life. Recent donor eligibility updates now allow even more people to roll up a sleeve and give. Learn more and make your appointment at Vitalent.org. Because of you, life doesn't stop.
On the surface, your retirement plan might look solid. With your 401k or IRA, Social Security, investments, and insurance coverage, you appear to have it all covered. But what could you be missing? Below the surface, is your retirement exposed to too much risk? It's time for a deeper dive into your portfolio. We can help you uncover the risk that lies beneath the surface and learn about strategies to help preserve your savings. Get your free risk analysis today.
This 3-1 match between Northern Colorado and Richmond was a very eventful one. As centers for Rendon tries to center up and score. Bruno Rendon gets his 10th goal of the season off of that spinorama try, and then only about 5 minutes later would Nil Vignoles respond back as the left-footed try would find its way through for a 1-1 equalizer, as that would conclude things in the first half in terms of the goal-scoring front. Richmond and NoCo were level up at 1 apiece. And only about 10 minutes into the second half, Horde gets it clear for Gill, returns for Horde, and that's Ethan Horde's 7th goal of the season. Only 3 have come in the regular season, this one being the 3rd, as Real Gill will get his 2nd assist of the game after coming into the match with none. And in 90+6, a tangle up from Horde and Barnathan. Play on, says the official, as Marky Hernandez had a 2-on-1, just sends it across for Noah Powder, and he sends that one in for the 3rd and final goal, the final nail in the coffin for the Richmond Kickers, as Noah Powder would get his first goal of the 2024 season. As we take a look at the halftime stats, pretty much all in favor of the Northern Colorado Hailstorm. We mentioned how few shots against Northern Colorado have allowed in recent games. That trend continues to follow. However, this time, Lalo Delgado did not stop that one shot on net for Richmond. However, Northern Colorado continued to pepper Pablo Jara and got 3 beyond the Richmond keeper. As there's been plenty of action in this match in Windsor, Colorado, and it has been eventful to say the least. A 3-1 final here at Four Rivers Equipment Stadium, where Northern Colorado get the 3 points and continue advancing the playoff hunt. For our entire broadcast crew, my name is Ryan Lee. Thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.